Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks for popping in. Here we are, start of another week. So I hope you've had a lovely weekend. And we're going to do another page in our calendar today. And I have to say, I'm so thrilled with how many of you are joining in, creating your calendars. And we're on to June. So we're going to use, I'm thinking some blue tones today. I've got some lovely stamps next to me that we're going to have a play with. And remember, if you're not joining in with the calendar, this design you could use in your on a card, you could use in your journal, you could use it as a scrapbook page and add a photograph. So, let's just actually enjoy the process and have fun and not just think of it as just a calendar. I mean, I've got to be honest, I just love the fact that you join in with me. The design I'm thinking of is I've had a little play and I've come up with something like this. As you know, for me, I like to get a piece of card, and this is roughly 8 by 5 inches, and I have a little go with the design that I'm going to do something similar. And just for me, that's easier. I'm not very good at starting straight away. I need to have a bit of a play. But also for me, I've actually got a design there that I can put on a card as well. Or I might put that in my journal. But it gives me a starting point. So for those of you that are very clever and you can do it straight in your journal, you know, fair play to you, hats off to you. I'm just not like that. So I'm just going to put a couple of bits of copier paper underneath, just in case I stamp off the edge or get some ink off the edge. And I'm going to come in first with a lovely Woodland Sprite. Now, because I'm thinking of having a here, I just want to make sure, because we've got the metal bit up here, I don't want my block. I want to make sure that my block doesn't go over that, and that will help me get a good stamp. That's the theory anyway. And I need to check that I don't need to mask off there. I think I'll be okay. So now she's at a big stamp. She's lovely, absolutely beautiful, but she is a big stamp. So I need to make sure I've got plenty of ink. I'm using the black Versafine Clair, the Nocturne, and lots of light tapping. Don't press too hard. Now I'm going to stamp up to do this, just because I need to make sure she stamps really well. And I'm sort of going to going to go for that there. Now, of course, she's direct on my calendar, so I really want to make sure she stamps as well as possible. Now, I know there are some lucky people. Tracy, you are so lucky. You literally stamp down, lift up, job done. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those. For some reason, I've always struggled with stamping. So unfortunately, I do have to press, and I do have to let the ink soak into the card. That's just something of me. But I always say, when we're crafting, you know, we're all different. And if you find something that works for you, you go with it. Now, our Lavinia blocks are slightly flexible. So again, I'm just going to just lift the top and give a good press on the body. Now, look, I've got a little bit that hasn't quite, but don't worry, we can get round that. I'm going to leave that because it won't matter. I'm going to resist putting it in with a black pen, but honestly, we'll get round that later. I don't mind that. And I'd rather show you exactly what happens and how we go. But I will just give her a bit of a blot. I mean, I know some of you use stamping platforms, but for me, I can't really get my calendar in the stamping platform. But like I say, it's not to worry. Now, I'm thinking let's come in with the lovely English bluebell to go with the fact we've got the bluebell here. But I just want to be mindful that how the edge of it stamps down here. So I'll just tear myself a piece of copy paper, and we can use that to protect it. Now I'm going to come in with the Versafine Clair Twilight. So this is a darkish blue. And as always, I don't have a lot of room. And if you're doing a calendar, you'll appreciate that. So I'm thinking, let's just go to the base here and let's put one there. And we'll add another one. I'm just going to perhaps maybe put one. I'm just being mindful of where the stem is at the base. I don't want to come right down into my where I'm going to be writing birthdays and things. So we'll have another one. And again, I don't want to overcook it with this, but I'm thinking just one in the middle here. Now, do I go that way? No, I think it's got to be just the head of that one there. And maybe I think a little bit of cheeky second generation there. Yeah. So I'm going to stop with that. I can always come back and add another as it builds up. I just don't want it to be too much at the minute, because I want to use another stamp. And this is this gorgeous little, it's actually called Bluebells, and it's one of the earliest stamps. If I put it on there, can you see it? And it's a gorgeous one, and it really goes well with this design. And I'm going to keep to blue and purple tones today. So I'm going to come in with Fantasia. Again, the Versafine Clair. And I'm inking up the whole flower. I'm not worrying that the stem will be in the Fantasia, the purple. That's fine. And I want to do little clumps of this. So here, look, for example, I'm thinking we can have a nice little clump. And we'll have some first and second generation stamping. Even a little bit of third, look. And I like that grouping. It's nice to have sort of a clump. So maybe we'll just have a couple there. And then over this side here, look. And again, try to alternate the height and the angle when you're doing your stamping. It just looks more natural. And then I think here, or do we leave it like that? I know, what I'm thinking is, if we just have here, this way, a couple, yes, I like that. That's pretty. And then at the base, I'll add some, but I'll add that later. You know, I like to just add a little bit of something at the base, but I'm thinking if I do that now, I might smudge it. So I'll give the stamp a bit of a clean and we'll pop it over there. So we need something nice and wispy. So obviously we've got to come in with our favourite field grass. And for this one, I'm thinking, let's go Warm Breeze. And I love the way just mixing all our Versafine Clair. We do the most fabulous colours in these. So let's start with this. And we'll just have a couple here. Again, first, second, third generation. It's such a lovely light, wispy stamp, this. That you can just get away. It just adds that little something. And then I don't want to do first generation over this side. So let's add second and third. And what you can do is just ink up the top. So I'm just going to take, with my Inky Binky, a little bit off the... So I've just inked up the top, look. And we'll still go second generation, but we're just getting the head. And this is nice because it just adds to that sort of depth. And we can just put some little bits here, look. And it just gives that lovely, that it's flowing up there with depth. So I like that. Now what I want to see is if I can add one of the bird collection. If I can, oh, I think I can get that on there. We can try, can't we? So I'm going to use black. And I may just have to put my head over. So let's see if we can, and again, you need your head right over the top. Right, we're going to put him there. Let's see what we do. And you know what? If his feet aren't on top of the bluebell, we'll just use our fine liner and we'll draw them in. Oh, there we go. He's done well. He's actually perched on top of there. These birds are so useful. Absolutely beautiful. Right, so we'll give that a bit of a blot. And then I just want to add, it almost looks like our beautiful Woodland Sprite is trying to get the bird, doesn't it? But I'm thinking, let's just add, let me see if I can add a couple of these hanging bells. Now we've got the single ones, but I'm going to just use the double. And I'm doing all my stamping first. And I just think this will look nice just here. Just, it makes a nice little group. And if I turn that round for you, look, I like that sort of grouping. And again, we're going to add more in the background and we're going to add more ink, but that's just the start of that lovely little group. Now, what I might do is just get my fine liner and just, there we go. So that now is hanging up there. And if you want here at the base of your bluebell, you can just add a couple of, if there's any way you want a couple of extra bits, just add them. So I think we're ready to add some nice ink in the background. So I'm going to get my moon mask first. And we'll sort of do a bit of a moon, a bit of a spotlight. Now I'm going to turn it round just because for me it's easier this way. So I'm hoping you can still see it. And I'm thinking, let's just, see, you could spotlight the bird, but I think our Woodland Sprite just there. And I'm going to use the Della Blue in the elements. And I'm going to get my Della Blue brush into the lid. Just that lovely habit of dabbing in the lid. And we'll start at the base and work our way round. So important, start at the base, always go on your moon mask first and then work your way round. And once I've gone all the way round, I'm just going to then add circular motions just to drag the colour out a little. I'm not re-inking my brush. Look, no need to re-ink. And we'll just come outwards and I'll pop the lid on and then I can turn it round and show you how we're looking. So that's the design so far. And we'll give our circle mask a nice wipe and pop that away. And then the stencil I'm going to use is the Feather Leaf. Now we've got some fabulous new stencils, but you know, I do have old favourites as well, and this is one of the ones I go back to time and time again, and I love this when I just want something in the background. Now you could leave it like this if you wanted. You could use your landscape masks and build up some landscape with the hill masks, but I just fancy some nice gentle stenciling. So I'm going to come in with violet chalk now, again to keep sort of the blue and the purpley tones. Important, this was stenciling, so make sure you do dab it off on the lid. And if possible, my aim is to have darker colour here and lighter going up. So I'll position my stencil how I want it. Then I'm going to start, but again I'm tickling. Remember, tickle that stencil, and that way you'll hold your brush nice and light. And we just want that mere suggestion at the top of a little bit of stencil work. Let's lift it up. Oh, that's lovely. But I can get away with a little bit more here. And this is the beauty of it. I can just add little bits as I want. Yeah, that's perfect. Now, I've avoided the moon. If I wanted, I could go right over the moon. But I love that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So we'll turn it this way. And because I can see through the stencil, because I've already done my inking, my moon mask, I can see exactly where I want more of the stencil and then where I want to avoid and where I want less. So we'll just gently up here. Let's have a look, lift it back. I think I just want a tiny bit more here. Just a tiny, let me see. Yeah, I like that. It just looked a little bit bare without. In fact, I want a tiny bit there. So I'm just going to look. And again, remember your stencil, you can choose. So I'm going to choose this area here. And just lightly come in. Let me have a look. Yeah, that's enough. Now for me, that's just enough. But that's the beauty of this. Just take your time and build up that gorgeous stencil work. Now I want to add some colour at the bottom to ground everything. So I'm going to come in with the blue atoll. And let's just get my blue atoll brush. Normally I have just one brush for all my blues, but since I got the blue atoll and it's such a sort of turquoisey colour, I have treated myself to a brush just for this colour because it's almost so different to the other blues. So I'm just going to see if I can just bring in a little bit of colour at the bottom. So I'm just going to start at the edge there and gently again, just going to see if I can just come. I almost want to add some blue to where my flowers are. And this is why it's important that we blotted our work so the ink won't run with our Versafine Clair. Sorry, excuse me. I had a workshop on Saturday. It was fabulous. It was at Lavinia headquarters, but honestly, my throat, my voice is a bit, I think I talk too much. So sorry, do bear with me. So I'm just re-inking and again, dabbing off in the lid, but just very gently. And I'm remembering about that tickling, and I just want to add almost some beautiful blue just at the base. And if you do get lines when you're doing this, one of the reasons is it might be you haven't blended the ink enough. I mean, there's very little on here, look, and I very light. Just hold it gently and just tickle. And we're just going to build this blue colour up and just take your time building it up. So I can go a bit deeper, so I can afford to just a bit deeper here at the base. Right, I'm going to put the lid on, put my brush down. And I have to say, I think that is looking absolutely wonderful. So I'm just going to get my pastel pencils out. And we're just going to add some highlights. So I'll just get my... Now I want to lean on my kitchen towel. So I'm just going to add some little white... Again, if you've got a gel pen and you want to use your gel pen. So if my head comes on, I'm very sorry. We'll just add a few of these. As I say, if you're somebody who likes your gel pen, use your gel pen for this. Now here, I'm just going to come in, and where it didn't quite stamp, look, I'm just going to, as I say, you can go over with a black. Some people like to use a paintbrush and use the black Versafine Clair ink, the Nocturne, and paint it in. For me, I'm just going to make it look like it's part of the highlight. I'm just going to leave it so. Now I can, if I want, add some extra white around the moon. And again, that gives a nice hazy look. And just play, just enjoy. Right, to me, I think that's just enough. Maybe a little bit down here. But yes, I think I'm going to stop with that now. Again, walk away from the pastel pencils. But I do think a couple of finishing touches. I need to stamp down here, don't I? I want to just add a little something down here. I do like to do this. So what I'm thinking is, oh, I know we could add, now he's facing the wrong way. So let's get, yes, we could add, now I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this. And I can't move my calendar up any further, so I'm very sorry. So if you're going to shout at me that you can't see it, I'm afraid there's not a lot I can do. I'm hoping you can just get that in. And what I'm thinking is, let's just pop him there where it says Lavinia Stamps. And then we'll just add a little bit. Do I do bluebells or field grass? I think I might go bluebells, so let's have a little... See, I'm thinking now, but I want, where's my copy of paper? I don't really want to cover that. I think it will look too much, but I've got a bit of a smudge there. I don't know if you can see it. So let's just have a couple of these. Do you know what? Look, I've got another smudge, and that's off this copy of paper. But not to worry. So if that happens, so look, in all honesty, the copy of paper had ink on it. So I've got a cleaner piece, and all we'll do, we'll just add, and this is what's important to show you. If things like that happen, don't panic. You can get round it. Now, what I'm thinking is we'll look nice. We've used, let's bring in some of the purple, the Fantasia. We'll make it look like this is what we were going to do. Let's just clean that stamp, and we'll come in with the same stamp, but if we bring in some Fantasia look, and again there's a little bit there, isn't there? So if we just, and maybe if we angle this way, and we've just got a little bit there, look. So what I'm thinking is, if we do first generation on there, just do, that's nice, little bit there. Yeah, I'm going to stop with that. I don't want to overcook it. So what I'll do now is blot it. Make sure it's a clean piece of copy paper. Don't do like I did. Just shows that I need to stop reusing my copy paper, don't I? So, yeah, I like that. Make sure that's dry. Give that a good blot. And if I get my chalk pastel pencil out again, add a little bit of highlight to the bird. Just a little. Don't want too much. Sorry if my head's come over. And then let's see if we've got, just really want to make sure that's dry. If I bring in the brush that had the blue atoll on, and let's just see if there's enough on here. Now I think I need a little bit more, but I'm just conscious I don't want to overcook this. So gently, gently. Let's just create a bit of a blue hue at the base around this bird, almost grounding it. And I think it'll just add to the whole design. And as I've got less ink on, look, I'm coming higher because I've got less ink, so it's not going to be too solid. Right, I just need a little bit more in the corner, look. Need to just darken this corner, this bottom edge. Right, I like that. So I can show you, if we take that out of there, and so for me that's my little happy accident look, and you can't tell that that was just covering up those little smudges. And then when we have the whole design look, it's not easy to show you, but the whole calendar when it's on hanging up on my wall. I love just doing this bottom corner. Obviously, I've extended this because of my little mishap, but do you know what? If you don't tell anybody, I won't. So I'm going to add a little sentiment. And what I'm thinking is, I love my sentiment stickers, but I don't think the green will go. But my steampunk ones, I've got a couple that have got blue and purple. So I'm thinking take time out. I think that'll go with the purpley tones. Well, that's what I'm hoping. So if I just use my, see, I just fancy it over here. Right, that's too high. Oh, actually, I quite like it. Yeah, I like it there, just coming in off the moon. And then to finish off with, I'm just going to add a little bit of glitter. So I've got my stickles, and this is Cayman, beautiful blue colour. So I'm going to do remember, it can be rude and spit, but this I just want to do a bit of a dot and dab. So I'm just going to dot some little bits where the field grass is. And then I'm just going to come in and just dab it with my finger. And I just want it to look, you know when the field grass gets the dew some mornings and it sparkles? Well, certainly when I walk Eric, and it's lovely. I have to say, I'm not keen on spiders, but you know what, cobwebs, when you walk in and they get the sun on them, don't they? And they just do sparkle. So I'm thinking, let's add a little, just a little. I know we've not got the field grass down here, but just so it looks like a lovely cohesive design, and that we wanted it to be like that. I think that will be fabulous. I just need to wipe my finger, otherwise I've got a very glittery finger from my dotting and dabbing. And then I've got my blue sparkly posca, and I'm just thinking, let's give it a good shake, and let's just add a little bit of sparkle to our Woodland Sprite wings here. I think we can just take a little bit of sparkle. We'll add a little bit on here. I don't want to overcook it, just a little. Oh yes. And then finally we need a couple of posca splats, and I'm just going to come around the florals. Now again, if you're not into your splats, we'll have a couple around the bells. You can leave this off. I know not everybody's into them. So again, you can decide exactly which bits you want to take from this, which bits you want to leave. So we'll get rid of those, make some room. So there we have beautiful June in blue and purple tones. So there's the top of our calendar, and just there's a little extra at the base. And obviously I've still got my original that I can pop on a card. Maybe if I've got somebody's birthday in June, that would be nice. I could send them. This is almost like I could be a headhunter. I could make myself a box of cards ready for birthdays. And so each of my practice ones, I could make a card to send to a person whose birthday that I then add onto my calendar for a June birthday. Oh, I like that. I might actually get ahead. So thank you for joining me today. I do hope you've enjoyed that. And if you do, please tag me in. I'd love to see what you do. And I think this would look fabulous in other colour tones too, don't you? But I didn't want to use orange again. I thought we used orange last month. So I'm thinking when I go through my calendar, see, already I'm thinking what I can do for July. But that's the way these calendars get you. You can't, I've got to be honest, I can't wait for December. I definitely need to do a wreath. Anyway, right, I better stop talking. You know what I'm like. You take care, everybody. And you know what? I'll see you again tomorrow. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.